The daily AA Daily Reflections for April 6th. Sorry, my cable sticking out. We got it. A lifetime process. We were having trouble with personal relationships. Check. We couldn't control our emotional natures. Check. We were a prey to misery and depression. Check, check. We couldn't make a living. Check. We had a feeling of uselessness. Check. We were full of fear. We were unhappy. We couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. Check, check, check. It's from Alcoholics Anonymous, page 52. These words remind me that I have more problems than alcohol. That alcohol is only a symptom of a more pervasive disease. When I stopped drinking, I began a lifetime process of recovery from unruly emotions, painful relationships, and unmanageable situations. This process is too much for most of us without help from a higher power and our friends in the fellowship. When I began working the steps of the AA program, many of these tangled threads unraveled, but little by little, the most broken places of my life straightened out. One day at a time, almost imperceptibly, I healed. Like a thermostat being turned down, my fears diminished. I began to experience moments of contentment. My emotions became less volatile. I am now, once again, a part of the human family. Oof! This is a good one. Takes you all the way back to the beginning and the middle and the end. Because I don't think, personally, I still deal with all of these at all times. Having trouble with personal relationships. Absolutely. If you didn't, well, maybe I should be calling you and getting advice. We couldn't control our emotional natures. Absolutely 100%. We were a prey to misery and depression. So when my alcoholism really hit its peak was when I was in Pensacola. I think it was 2003, maybe. I was drinking all the time, drinking daily. I was living with a girl that I shouldn't have been living with. I mean, she was as crazy as I was. So it really worked out well for the relationship. I had not done well I was in flight school in the Navy, and I hadn't done well on an exam. And for whatever reason, that was the tipping point for me. And I ended up in the hospital the next day, a psychiatric unit. And all of this stuff, we couldn't control our emotional natures. Absolutely. We were a prey to misery and depression. Absolutely. We couldn't make a living. Well, that came later. We had a feeling of uselessness. Absolutely. We were full of fear. We were unhappy. We couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. All of those coalesced together. And that was basically the beginning of my journey into sobriety. These words remind me I have more problems than alcohol. And wildly enough, when I went into AA, I honestly thought the only problem that I had was drinking. If I could just figure out how to stop drinking, everything else would take care of itself. And that was literally the furthest thing from the truth. What AA really got me to understand is there's a foundation of all this garbage, and then I put alcohol on top of it. When I stopped drinking, I began a lifetime process of recovery from unruly emotions. Lifetime process. Everything for me goes back to instincts and misguided instincts. And in the fourth step, if you just read the fourth step in the 12 and 12, I think instincts is used dozens of times in that chapter because I realize that naturally, instinctually, I don't see the world through a proper pair of glasses. It's all skewed. I put too much importance on other people. I put too much importance on external things to make me feel validated and happy. And everything that comes in from the world, I take as a personal slight. And this lifetime process of recovery from unruly emotions, painful relationships, and unmanageable situations really did start to unravel, but it has been a journey. And it's been a journey I've been on for really 20 plus years at this point. Not all of it sober. I did relapse, but I think that was really the best thing for me at the time because I got to work back through the steps. And since I had a little bit of knowledge and experience, a lot of light bulbs went off for me when I went through the steps again. And the wonderful part is that all of this stuff is just revealed when you start to work the 12 steps in earnest and honestly. And if when I had the key was when I had some honest self-awareness. And that came from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th step. The 4th and 5th step are me talking about what I know I did wrong. But when you do a 9th step, you get to learn what you didn't know you did wrong when you're making amends. When I began working the steps of the AA program, many of these tangled threads unraveled. But little by little, the most broken places of my life straightened out. The most broken. And if you really look at that, he's not talking, or they are not talking about alcohol. The most broken places, plural. One day at a time, almost imperceptibly, and that is true. I always talk about Karate Kid, and Daniel is waxing on and waxing off, and he doesn't understand what he's learning at the time. He's just resentful because he thinks Mr. Miyagi's taking advantage of child labor, making him unpaid child labor, making him clean up his classic cars. But he wasn't cleaning up classic cars. He was learning karate. And he didn't know he was learning karate until Mr. Miyagi told him to wax on and wax off. That's kind of what AA is for me, if that makes sense. I don't really understand it at the time, but when I'm going through the steps, when I'm going through the things, serving other people, putting sod in people's lawn, answering the phone at the old central offices, when I'm doing the things, just work. I don't understand, or didn't understand at the time, what that had to do with sobriety. It turns out it has everything to do with sobriety because I'm outward focused. I'm helping other people. And when I'm helping other people, I'm not worried about myself. This reminds me of page 84 in the big book. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately, and we make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code. I always remember that because my rear end was falling off one time. Actually, I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I had moved from Pensacola, so I didn't have my normal group of guys. I didn't have my sponsor anymore. I had a sponsor, but it wasn't the guy I was really comfortable with. And I called him. I don't know what was going on. Probably had something to do with a woman. And he said, well, this is what you do. You're in fear. So you need to ask for God to remove it. You're talking about it with me, so we're checking that box. Since you haven't harmed anyone, you don't need to make amends. But if you have, then make an amends. And the part that got me and has stuck with me is resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. And kind of a light bulb went off on me. I'm like, oh, okay. Something's going on with me. If I'm upset about something, well, it's because I'm selfish, self-centered. So I need to turn my thoughts to someone else I can help. And once I turn, just even my thoughts, it doesn't say go out and help someone. It just says turn your thoughts to someone you can help. And it's amazing how much that can turn things around. Turn that frown upside down with love and tolerance. Anyway, I think that's it. This was a really good one. Put in the comments what you got out of it. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.